In our previous video, we talked about body language myths and the importance of baselines. Now, let's explore what science actually tells us about nonverbal communication. What's fascinating is that while many popular beliefs about body language don't hold up to scrutiny, decades of research have revealed genuine patterns that, when properly understood, can tell us a lot about human behavior and emotion. Remember, none of these signals work in isolation. We're looking for clusters of behaviors that deviate from someone's baseline. Dr. Paul Ekman's groundbreaking research identified 7 universal emotions that appear consistently across cultures. Let's break down each one with its corresponding facial markers. Happiness, a genuine smile, called the Duchenne smile, involves crow's feet around the eyes, orbicularis oculi activation, raised cheeks, symmetrical lip movement, slightly narrowed eyes. Many people can fake a smile with their mouth, but very few can voluntarily contract the muscles around their eyes convincingly. Sadness. True sadness shows. Inner corners of eyebrows rise and draw together. Upper eyelids droop. Corners of lips pull down. Loss of muscle tone in cheeks, often accompanied by decreased blink rate. The key tell here is the eyebrow movement. It's extremely difficult to fake authentically. Fear, one of the fastest appearing emotions. Upper eyelids raise dramatically, lower eyelids tense. Eyebrows raise and pull together. Lips stretch horizontally, often accompanied by blanching of the face. Watch for the combination of raised upper and tensed lower eyelids. It's nearly impossible to reproduce voluntarily. Disgust involves very specific muscle groups. Nose wrinkles, upper lip raises, cheeks raise. Distinctive furrow appears alongside the nose, often accompanied by a slight head recoil. The nose wrinkle is particularly telling. It's controlled by the levator labii superioris muscle, which is difficult to activate voluntarily. Anger shows through. Eyebrows lower and draw together. Vertical lines appear between eyebrows. Lower eyelids tense. Lips either press firmly or square off. Nostrils may flare. The dead giveaway is the combination of lowered eyebrows with tensed lower eyelids. Surprise, the most fleeting of all expressions. Eyebrows raise high and curve. Upper eyelids raise significantly. Lower jaw drops. Mouth forms an O shape, often accompanied by a sharp intake of breath. True surprise can only last a fraction of a second. Any longer, and it's likely performed. Contempt, the only asymmetrical universal expression. One corner of mouth raises, creates distinctive dimple or bulge on one cheek, often accompanied by slight head tilt. Can include a subtle squint on the same side as the raised lip. This asymmetry makes contempt uniquely identifiable. Microexpressions are involuntary facial movements that occur in fractions of a second. Unlike regular expressions, they're incredibly difficult to control consciously. Duration, 1/15th to 1/25th of a second. Completeness, involve the whole face. Symmetry, usually symmetrical unless deliberately posed. Let's examine specific microexpressions in detail. Fear microexpression. Upper eyelids raise rapidly. Lower eyelids tense. Eyebrows raise and draw together. Lips stretch horizontally. All of this happens in a flash, often before conscious control kicks in. Anger microexpression. Momentary glabella compression between eyebrows. Flash of teeth display. Split-second nostril flare. Brief eye hardening. Look for these in sequence. They often cascade in a specific order. Disgust microexpression. Quick nose wrinkle. Upper lip flash. Momentary eye squint. Brief head recoil. These often appear when someone verbally agrees but internally objects. Surprise microexpression. Rapid eyebrow raise. Quick eye widening. Flash of upper teeth. Momentary jaw drop. True surprise microexpressions never last more than a quarter second. When someone experiences actual stress, not acted, their body undergoes several involuntary changes. Autonomic nervous system responses, pupil dilation, increased blinking rate, decreased salivation, dry mouth, shallow breathing, face flushing or paling, observable behavioral clusters. 1. Respiratory changes, shortened breath, irregular breathing pattern, subtle shoulder tension, occasional sighing. 2. Cardiovascular signs, a visible pulse in neck, color changes in face, and slight tremor in hands. Temperature changes visible in thermal imaging. 3. Muscular reactions, jaw clenching, shoulder elevation, hand tremors, muscle twitches around eyes. Proxemics and personal space. Edward Hall's research on personal space defines 4 distinct zones: intimate distance, 0 to 18 inches, reserved for closest relationships. Invasion triggers immediate physiological responses, increased heart rate, muscle tension, stress hormone release. Even in crowded spaces, people unconsciously work to maintain maximum possible distance. At this so-called intimate distance, a person also can see fine details of face, can detect subtle scents, and whispered speech is easily heard. Personal distance, 18 inches to 4 feet. Comfortable for friends and family, allows for detailed facial observation. Breaking this boundary with strangers triggers measurable stress responses. This distance is appropriate for normal conversation volume, can see upper or lower body in full view, and allows for limited touch if necessary. Social distance, 4 to 12 feet. Business and casual social interactions. Full body view becomes possible. Facial expressions must be exaggerated to be seen clearly. Voice must be slightly raised at outer limits. Allows others to continue nearby activities without acknowledgement. Typical distance for group conversations. Public distance, 12 plus feet. Public speaking, formal situations. Requires significant voice projection. Gestures must be exaggerated. Facial expressions less important than body position. Allows for flight response if threatened. Pacification behaviors. While individual self-touch behaviors don't indicate deception, research shows certain clusters of pacifying behaviors appear when someone's comfort is challenged. Neck touching, specifically covering or rubbing the suprasternal notch, accompanied by increased swallowing, may occur with collar adjustment, often seen with neck stretching, typically lasts longer than casual touches. Hand behaviors, interlacing fingers, cracking knuckles, rubbing palms on thighs, adjusting rings or watches, squeezing one hand with the other. Face-specific behaviors, touching or rubbing lips, cheek or ear touching, forehead smoothing, temple massage, eye rubbing. Practical application. Let's look at how this all works together in real situations. Cluster example 1. Genuine surprise. Eyebrows raise, upper eyelids lift, jaw drop slightly, brief freeze in body position. Cessation of ongoing movement. Hands may freeze mid-gesture, blinking stops momentarily, all occurring within fractions of a second. Cluster example 2. Genuine discomfort. Increased blink rate, throat clearing, ventilation behaviors, pulling at collar, reduced gesturing, compressed lips. Decreased illustrators, i.e., decreased hand gestures that accompany speech. Increased self-touching. Weight shifting. Protective posture changes. Cluster example 3. Authentic engagement. Forward lean. Mirrored breathing rate. Synchronized movements. Consistent eye contact. Nodding in appropriate places. Natural hand gestures. Relaxed facial muscles. Feet pointed toward speaker. Understanding these scientifically validated aspects of body language requires careful observation, baseline knowledge, context awareness, cluster recognition, cultural consideration. Remember, this isn't about catching people or reading minds. It's about understanding human behavior through careful observation and scientific understanding. Well, people, it's about that time again. If you learned anything or you plain just enjoyed it, you know where that like button is. And I will see you right here for the next one.